How were you able to create your dream job?
Basically, I raised money, raised around $300,000 back then.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How did you raise $300,000?
I put together a business plan,
Okay.
and I went in front of a lot of people. And then I just went as hard as I could. There was a few issues along the way. I went broke, had to figure it out, really didn't create content for like a year. What I did is I studied Casey Neistat, and he shows you, and he says it in a lot of videos, like, if I can't do it all alone, then it shouldn't be done. Seeing people around me, everybody with money, it makes you want money. Money is not everything at all, actually, but it fuels my business. It fuels what I want to do, which is I want to travel, and I want to change the way people see travel. You know, if you want to grow and whatever you're doing, you got to keep working at it.
How has it affected your personal life, though? Do you feel like maybe you don't have as much time with your friends, your family, or that you've lost some relationships because of that?
How personal I'm gonna get? Got divorced. I literally have a handful of friends now. It does become harder, you know, with the traveling.
We have one more question for David, and it's, what's his ultimate goal?
You know, you can travel the world, but what's the hardest thing to do right now? Well, it's go to space. Space right now, you could do it for 20 million, but again, it's $20 million. You have to know where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter how the winds are, the sail won't be there. So my goal is to go there, and everything that happens between now and then will get me there.
David Hoffman, thank you so much for being on People in Miami. You are the perfect example of people in Miami, because even though you've traveled all over the world, you are still a Miami boy at heart. David Hoffman is a travel host and producer of the popular show Davidsbeenhere, which is on his YouTube channel that has over 1 million subscribers. And his videos are great. He travels the world, eats all types of food, teaches us about culture. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And David was also named one of the top 10 travel videographers by USA Today. David, I think one of the questions that a lot of people would want to know is, how were you able to create your dream job? How did you turn your passion of traveling into an actual sustainable business?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, very, very difficult. You know, traveling for a living is a dream for most people, right?
Yeah.
So how do we make it happen? Well, for me, it was back in 2007. I was at the University of Miami, and I was doing real estate, but I was traveling a lot. I was very fortunate to have a lot of friends in Europe that would invite me to their house. So that's why I was able to travel so often, just to their places, right? Because I didn't have to pay for the hotel, etc. And during that time, I was starting YouTube, and I wanted to do something different. I knew I wanted to make travel my career. But basically, I raised money, raised around $300,000 back then. I hired an editor.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How did you raise $300,000?
I put together a business plan.
Okay.
And I went in front of a lot of people. And then I just went as hard as I could. Basically, I traveled 2 years, 90% of the time I was basically gone. I was like in and out always. I had an editor here. I had an office here in Miami, in Brickell. I shared it with my father. And then I had a cameraman and an assistant. After 2 years, I went broke. So in that time, I had to really reinvent myself and try to figure out, how do I keep making this a reality?
So those 2 years, you were just traveling, you had hired your editor, your videographer, and you didn't have a 9-to-5 or a regular job. You were just traveling, spending that money that you raised.
Yeah, so we were just trying to travel and make videos and then launch them and hope we hit. That's basically how it is at the beginning.
And was that your goal with that at the time? Were you just thinking like, hey, I just want to grow on YouTube, I hope I hit? Was that your MO during those 2 years, spending the money?
No, I mean, for me, it's always been like, I wanted to travel for the rest of my life, and I wanted to become a name in travel. You know, I always looked up to some of the greats, like Anthony Bourdain, rest of these, Andrew Zimmerman, all these guys, and I'd been watching them, and I was like, I just want to do something along those lines. And for me, what's always been interesting is I wanted to go off the beaten path. I wanted to go to places people have never been to or have never heard of. And I still do that today, but obviously now I'm sort of limited where I haven't been.
In the YouTube channel, once you started creating a name for yourself, were people sponsoring you? Were hotels reaching out to you? Like, how did that work? Or were you funding everything?
I didn't really make it on YouTube until 2017 or 2018, really.
And you started what's the year? Okay,
2008.
2000.
Yeah, there was a few issues along the way. I went broke, had to figure it out, really didn't create content for like a year. Twice that happened. But then I blew up on Instagram in 2016. Okay, I went from like 0 to like 100 something.
How?
Posting nonstop content. And that was when photos would actually get likes, you know?
Yeah.
That was back in the day. And that's how I grew there. And through that, I got an agent, which is my agent Kyle. He's in LA. I was his 6th client. Now he has 170 clients, something like that. And once I got him, I started getting deals, a lot of sponsorships, a lot of big buck sponsorships just for Instagram, which is crazy, right? And then in that time, I was like, okay, I gotta get back into YouTube. I have to figure out how to do it without having to hire a cameraman, because that was my like Achilles heel back then. Couldn't afford it, you know. Having a cameraman full time is not cheap. So what I did is I studied Casey Neistat. I don't know how much you know of Casey.
Yes.
Casey basically revolutionized vlogging. He's like the godfather, right? And he shows you, and he says it in a lot of videos, like, if I can't do it all alone, then it shouldn't be done, you know? So for me, when I saw that, I was like, wow, so get a camera, learn how to film myself, learn how to tell a story, and then go and edit it. I literally went on YouTube and started learning all this stuff.
Yeah, that's what I did. YouTube University.
That's it. It's university, the best. You don't even need to go to school anymore.
Right.
Just get on there. So that's what I did. And in that process, I started going again really far. In terms of, I went to India. My India trip changed my life. I had 60,000 subscribers back then. When I started releasing my Indian content, I doubled in a week. Like, that's how quick I doubled. So I got to like 120K within the first week.
Wow.
And then every year was like $250,000 every year since. But always going to new destinations. I went to India 5 times in that sphere, like in that time frame. But now I'm like, no. I can't do more India. I actually don't want to do more India. India takes a toll.
Yes, but the Indian market is huge, and that helped you out a lot.
And they all speak English, which is the big thing.
And okay, so I kind of seen though that when you started off a little bit easier because you started off with the funding that you got.
Yeah.
You were able to have your videographer, your editor, and that was 2 years of, in a way, bliss, right? Traveling with the money that you were able to get. And then, so you started up here and then you kind of went down here because that's when you went broke and you had to realize, okay, how am I going to continue doing this, right? And you had to like start figuring everything out yourself. And is that when you really started learning all the ropes and how to create your channel?
Yeah, I mean,
do everything yourself?
A mix of creating my channel, also figuring out products. I got into products back then. That's how I literally continued to travel. I sold a lot of merchandise on Amazon. My cousin had a big Amazon business. He asked me to get into it. We looked up a few
random products.
And no, all travel related, like a travel pillow, luggage scale, toiletry bag. Everything was going good for about 2 years. And then once Alibaba went public, everybody started copying my products, and that's when everything went downhill again. So there was 2 like really, really bad moments financially, but I always knew that something was gonna happen. I just gotta keep going at it, right?
Yeah.
And then, so 2018 was really like when I really got into YouTube full time, releasing as much as I could, traveling as far as I could.
Let's go back though to the beginning, to your childhood and your family. I know that you would do a lot of videos with your dad, like your videos in Miami. He would go all over Miami, try the best restaurants, and he would take his dad a lot of times, which was super cute. So you and your parents, did they instill that travel bug in you? Like, what made you always want to travel?
My parents were born in Venezuela. My father's family's Hungarian. My mother's family's Italian. Both my grandfathers fought in the war, in World War II. So complex family background, but that's what made me want to travel. I wanted to go learn about their cultures, which I did eventually, right? So Italy, Hungary, and just having that background. My parents, they traveled Europe a lot, you know, in their life. So that's sort of how it started. And then really traveling started for me. One of my best friends growing up, he had a boat. I'd go with him and his family for like 4 months every summer to the Bahamas. So that's where it started. And then my sister, she married a Spaniard, and she was going every summer, 6 weeks to Spain. They invited me one summer. That was summer of, I think the year 2000. She invited me to Spain. Never been to Europe. I said, okay, I'm going. I went to Spain. And then after that, it was like, nah, I'm traveling forever.
Like, this is what I want to do.
This is what I want to do. And I was always very entrepreneurial. I would sell mangoes, car washes. I did a lot of stuff here in Miami. I was actually known at Columbus as the muffin guy. I show up with like a bag of muffins.
Sold muffins?
Yeah, sold muffins. But I was always focused on, you know, I don't want to go broke. But when you make a business, you understand you will go broke. But yeah, so I started doing that. And then with the money I was making, I would travel. You know, but again, visiting family and friends, always making it easier. And I know that you mentioned you were in real estate for a little bit. Did you ever have any other type of regular corporate job
Or have you always been outside of the norm?
So I started my company my senior year in college. So I haven't had a corporate job, but I did have a job at a place called Hand Innovations during all of high school, a hand doctor place. So I was like, I think is the manager of inventory. So when an order would come in, we'd find the pieces, package it, ship it. So I did that. I was always working, no matter what, working.
Right. And do you think being in Miami, because you know Miami is pretty wealthy, there are a lot of people with money here, do you feel like that kind of gave you that entrepreneurial spirit of being like, hey, I have to make it, and also going to Columbus and private schools?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely fuels my ambition, you know, seeing people around me, everybody with money, it makes you want money, right? It's not even want money, you want a better life, especially for your kids, right? Especially in this environment here. But, you know, for me, money is not everything at all, actually. But it fuels my business. It fuels what I want to do, which is I want to travel, and I want to change the way people see travel.
And that you're doing with your videos. They're very detailed, and you go into off the beaten path. You don't stick to just like the touristy activities. How do you build an audience on YouTube?
How do you build an audience? You release every single day for 1,000 days. That's how you build an audience.
How do you find the time to do that? How do you do it all?
You don't sleep. You don't. I think, you know, I follow a few people that I not idolize, but I think what they push out is very, very important. One of them is Gary Vaynerchuk. And you know, if you're out partying, somebody else is not partying and they're working on their thing. So you got to start doing like that. So I stopped partying in Miami when I was like 21 or 22. I haven't been seen in a nightclub in many years. So the main thing is I prioritize my time, right? So no matter what, obviously I schedule my day around my kids, but the rest of the time it's like my work schedule. What am I doing all day to better myself? Forget the actual work, better my mind, learn more about where I'm going, what I'm studying, and always trying to be better. So I think that's part of just like, you know, if you want to grow and whatever you're doing, you got to keep working at it. And I could always be better. We talk about all the time. They're like, dude, you haven't been service. Dude, but I can be better. I can be better on camera, be a better presenter. I can get better at shooting. I could just like, you know, just know what I'm talking about a little more, right?
And how do you prepare for a video?
Oh, so I don't prepare too much. I don't go over crazy, like even the one we're going to shoot. Like I'm not super prepared, but I know how to talk. I know how to talk to my audience.
In YouTube, is there anything specific that you think would be useful to know for people?
Yeah, thumbnail and title.
Thumbnail and titles?
Thumbnail and title. Okay. I don't want to say it's crazy clickbait, but as close to whatever your topic is, you have to make the best possible title and have the best possible thumbnail. And what I always suggest, because me and Nate literally do this every day, is like, okay, what's this video about? Okay, let's find out who else has done something similar. Let's see what they did, and whoever has the highest views, then we start seeing like, what do they use in their title? What are the keywords there? What does the thumbnail look like? Oh, there's a lot of eyes in this thumbnail. And that's another thing. Eyeballs is very important. More eyeballs, you know, it attracts eyes, right? So I think that's key. And then just releasing as much as possible, the highest quality you can. So like I've released 3,000 videos. That's why I'm here today, because I released 3,000 videos, not because I released 100 or one. And you know, you really need 100. And then after the 100 is that you start figuring out like, okay, so I'm better at this, or this is what's working better for what I'm doing. So
you would say about 100, and that's when you start really honing in and figuring out like, oh, this is what works?
Well, imagine you did 100 videos and the Caribbean stuff did the best. Well, you got to do more Caribbean stuff, you know? Like that's sort of how this game works, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's work. Now you finally have your own office, which you didn't always have that. Where were you working out of before your house? And all over the world?
No, yeah. So I worked out of my house until pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, then I got an office in this building, a small little hole. It was smaller than this room that we're in today. And then it took about 3 years, and then I got this office.
And how do YouTubers make money?
How do YouTubers make money? Okay, so there's two ways to make money, right? Viewership and sponsorships. I'm always on the idea that I want to get more eyeballs. I want this to make me the money. Plus, with this, I sort of know my month. Like, I already know, like, I'm getting paid on this date, and I know sort of the average that I will get paid, right? So for every million views, you're either making $1,000 or $10,000, $12,000, right? That's the difference in the CPM. And why is that? Well, because India pays way less, and it's probably one of the lowest. I think Bangladesh, just some of these other countries are very, very low. And then US is number one. US, Great Britain, Australia, and all the Scandinavian countries are always going to be the highest. So that's the difference, right? So If you look at what I'm making, so like this month, what do we get? Like 2.4 million views. But I'm
All together, right? Throughout all your videos?
throughout my videos. And so I'm definitely getting paid way more in the higher end. I'm not getting paid on the super low end because I'm not getting Indian viewership anymore because I'm not releasing Indian content.
Yeah.
Right now I'm releasing a lot of Caribbean content. So I'm getting way more US eyeballs. Obviously, you're getting worldwide eyeballs here, but you're always trying to get more over here. I want to grow more in America. That's my goal.
A lot of people would probably think that you get all of these trips for free, the hotels for free, the flights for free, but you actually mentioned that you pay a lot of this yourself, right?
Yeah, because the thing is that what we're doing is a production. We're going after a story. Everything I want to do, if I'm waiting for people to give it to me for free, they're going to ask too much. So like, for example, hotels, they want a lot. So they want me to spend, let's say, one or at least half day or one day at their place when I really need that to produce the content I need to produce, which is a little different. And, I also don't want to be like so biased. Like, yeah, they're giving me the free hotel.
Yeah, this hotel's the best.
It's the best. Yeah, but might not be, right?
Right.
But yeah, so I fund it all myself now. I go where I want to go. That's the main thing. I only return to places. So I might go back to Singapore this year because I might have a deal with a company over there. But if not, I'm not returning. I don't really want to repeat unless I see like, hey, maybe I should go back to like Trinidad, for example. I have a huge audience there. They're begging me to go back to do like Carnival and do other stuff. So that's one that I might do, but I'm right now focused on getting to that 100 country. We're 97 this week. So the next few trips are all new countries, right?
Do you ever feel like, I don't know, since you travel so much that you've kind of maybe resented it or feel like there's no time to relax or that it's affected your personal life negatively in some way?
100%, right? 100%. So it's tough because now I'm 37. I started at 22.
Yeah, and then you're almost at 100 countries.
Yeah. So, the countries is a great accomplishment. I could have been in 100 countries 4 years ago. I just didn't have to do all these other trips, right? What's exhausting about it is like, even now, like, we got Belize this week. I don't want to think about next month because it is exhausting thinking of going in and out and in and out. Like the trips, I love it. Super, I learn so much. Everything changes inside my mind. Once I go on a trip, I learn about the destination. I can, talk about it to the world. But when I get back, now I'm like, now I need a day to relax.
You need a vacation from your vacation.
I need a vacation. I always need a vacation from a vacation, which I never get,
How has it affected your personal life, though? Do you feel like maybe you don't have as much time with your friends, your family, or that you've lost some relationships because of that, like with friendships?
Of course. How personal I'm going to get. Got divorced. A lot of my friends, I literally have a handful of friends now, and I do try to keep contact with them. I barely see them, maybe once or twice a year now, but everybody has family and everybody has like an actual like family. Like, they all have kids now. So it does become harder, with the traveling.
Are they understanding of it though? Or was it a little bit rough in the beginning? Like, oh, David, you don't have time for this and, things like that.
No, for sure. And for me, what's hard is I try, because I'm very, very humble. I do not want to be center conversation in every room. I try to stop that, which is hard sometimes because everybody wants to know, like, oh, this guy travels so much, But at the end of the day, I'm very, secure with who I am. I know who I am. And yeah, I just try to keep in contact. And like all my best friends now, they're all somewhere else around the world. So WhatsApp is my favorite,
Not even in the U.S.? They don't live here?
None of them live here.
Did you meet them in your travels?
I met them in my travels, or we've been in contact for many years, and then eventually we did meet.
When you travel, when do you draw the line of, I want to have fun, I want to enjoy right now, versus I want to create content? Or have you already, your eyes right now, all they see is content? Like, everything's an opportunity for content. Like,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, so that's really, really tough. So like, even if I wanted to add a day just
to relax,
you still run into more content. So it's always hard.
Everything is content.
There has to be a line, but I think, and I said this earlier, like for me, if I didn't have the platforms, if I didn't have this camera, I wouldn't be able to be in those destinations. So I really do enjoy it. Even if I'm behind camera watching, I'm enjoying it, I'm learning, right? So yeah, it is hard. It's even like I went on a real vacation like 2 weeks ago, and even then I have the phone, so the phone I can film anything. So like I still was filming, but obviously it was very different. I didn't have a schedule where like when we're on this trip, like, at 7 we're waking up because at 8 we have to be here, and then we have to film this at 9. It's like a nonstop thing. and we always do have a schedule. I'm a big planner, especially for production. It has to be planned. If not, you might not make anything, and then what's the point of this, you know? And we don't have time to waste a day.
Yeah. And then when you are on your regular vacations, that's not for content, I feel like it's hard from what you normally do, which is go out and shoot with a purpose versus going out enjoying just to relax.
It's very different.
It's very different. When you go out with other people who don't understand that, do they get annoyed by it?
Yeah.
Like, hey, David, put your phone away and
You know,
things like that.
it's funny though, because anybody I do hang out with now is like a content creator. So
Okay. It helps to hang out with similar people.
Everybody's always trying to get something, you know? So at least and I'm understanding with them too, you know?
Yeah. See, like, I would get it. I'm with it. But I know that there are other people who would be pretty bothered by it because it's happened to me before. They're like, can you just enjoy the moment? And we're like, this is how I enjoy my time.
Exactly.
Like, I like doing this.
I think it's hardest with family because they don't do it. And then they're like, yo, why filming?
You know, my family is actually very supportive of it. Like when I've gone, let's say I'll go on a trip with my parents, they already know what I'm doing. They'll just walk ahead of me like, oh, go, I'm in the back, I'm doing things. Like, they get it. They don't bother me, or they'll hold the phone and help me record. So
that's good.
It helps,
I know. It always helps to have somebody help.
Always helps to have somebody help, but it's not always available. Well, okay, so run me through a typical day that you're shooting in, for example, Belize. What would your full schedule look like for one day to come up with the great content that you come up with?
Yeah, so I mean, every city is different, every destination is different. So we have a plan. I usually do breakfast, lunch, dinner. Dinner is the one where it's iffy if we actually cover it, unless it's something very unique because of lighting and stuff, right?
Okay.
So we're filming all daylight hours. So from 8 until 6, we're out there creating content. And it depends on what the content is in that destination. Like some of these places we're going on beaches / street food / going diving because it's Belize. And other places we're going to like Mayan villages. We're going to see ancient Mayan ruins. So it really depends. But I mean, we don't stop. Literally, I am on a grind mode from 8 to 6 at least. And then it's offload time. Make sure all the content got onto one hard drive, 2 hard drives, and then
you don't waste any time. You go straight into like offloading.
Never waste time because you can just lose it all in 1 second. Lately what we do is we'll leave that content on the card too, and have enough cards that we can do that for every day, just because in case anything does go wrong.
How do you know where to go?
I plan. Yeah. So
do you Google research, find like the local hotspots, things like that?
Yeah. So what I'll do is like now I have a list of the places I want to go to, what I see is going to work, especially for viewership, right? And then I'll look in the map. I'll start digging deep into it. Like, what is this country known for? What's the food in this country? What are the places I should visit? I mean, it's very easy stuff. I Google everything, just go in and start building a map. I don't have it. Oh, I do that here. So like, this is my Belize trip right here. So I have a bunch of trips here. I literally print the map out. I'll pick map.
You're a map guy.
Yeah. So I'll print it out and then I'll start writing down like how long does it take to get here. I'm my profession, if I gotta say, is I'm a trip planner. I'm a pro at planning trips. I can plan a trip for anybody, anytime, about any country. I know how to do it, well, because I studied almost every country. I've really studied, right? So like, this is sort of how I go about it. So this trip I did this, and then I go online and find a partner. I'm trying to find always a logistical partner who helps me on the ground, provides me with a guide, the transportation, maybe talks to some of these restaurants, let them know we're coming, that we need kitchen access. There's a lot of things that go into this, right?
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you. How do you get kitchen access and all that type of stuff in all these foreign places?
We usually call ahead or they help us, schedule that. And if not, like today, some of the places we'll shoot, we'll just walk in, I have the camera and just ask them, hey, is it okay if I just film just a little bit of process? We really need 5-10 minutes. We don't need an hour in the kitchen.
And they usually won't mind.
Usually won't mind. In America, always harder because if their kitchen's dirty, they can get in trouble, That's sort of how it goes with the trip planning.
Well, I had no idea that you planned them all yourself. I thought maybe you had a producer that would help you with that part or...
No. Like Nate's my producer, but he'll help me more with like camera equipment and just like that part, right? He also helps with like storytelling in terms of like, hey, this is something cool we should cover. He does some research too, but I'm mainly the one doing it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's stop some travel tips.
Oh, for sure.
Tangible travel tips that people who are watching can apply to their next vacation. So 1, ways of saving money, budget. Like, is it true that if you fly on X day, it's cheaper when you book another flight? Things like that.
Yeah. I mean, if you fly weekdays, you're always going to get the best bargain because weekends when usually people are flying. So if you're going to fly on a Thursday or Friday through a Monday, it's you're gonna get the highest price for the flight, right? So, and I also suggest looking on Tuesdays. Tuesday's the day, from my understanding.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I've heard it too. I always check on Tuesdays, and if I check with this computer, then I'll go to some other computer and check again the next Tuesday, because this already knows that I was looking, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they always know you're looking. They'll always up the price. So that's one thing. In terms of packing, so I've got into this lately. I don't have it with me, but I have packing cubes. Very easy to go on Amazon, get packing
I have some of those.
The best.
The best.
The best. I mean, like, my underwear's here, my socks are here, my shirts are here, my jeans are here.
Yeah.
And then everything is organized, so you just take it out and put it back in. That's it. So that's another thing.
Do you travel a lot with carry-on or the check?
I take both, just because I usually go on 2-week trips. So I always take one major luggage, but usually I have empty, and then I'll have my carry-on, and that carry-on is all gear, which is pure gear. And that's always with me. I don't want to have it separated. Then I have my backpack, which has my laptop. So
how about the best credit cards to travel with?
I know we were talking about this earlier. For me, because I'm building with One World, so I fly American Airlines a lot. I fly Qatar a lot, so I always have all these American Airlines like Advantage ones, right? So the way it works now, they've changed the way you get status. For every dollar you spend on these, that you actually pay. So not with interest. Just if you spent it and you pay it, you'll get 1 point, right? So I just hit Executive Platinum, so it's 200,000 points. So that's a mix of flights plus paying with the credit card. But my entire business runs on credit card, besides, you know, employees and stuff, like salaries and stuff. I can't pay that. But most things I can pay with my credit card. And then I'll do that, pay it off, and then every month I'm getting X amount of points, X amount of points. So this is what I recommend, but you can look at my friend Eli, the travel guy, or the points guy. They give the best tips.
They have great tips. Yeah, and there are many credit cards out there that help out with the points, but it helps knowing from someone who travels the world, almost 100 countries. Like,
well, if you want to build a world, get A Advantage.
All the A Advantage.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you. Favorite airline? Well, obviously American.
No, not American.
No?
Qatar. American is, I hate saying it, they suck.
Yeah.
Suck. Yeah, I mean,
I don't see the big deal about them.
But they don't treat you nice. That's the problem. Like, I've had a lot of bad service. Yeah, you know, I don't want to get too deep into it, which is weird because Americans usually are super friendly, especially like Northeast. They're very, very friendly. It just depends where, you know?
Right.
But Qatar is the best. For economy, it's the best. Delicious food, unlimited entertainment. It's a long flight. They call up, they ask you, you know, what do you need? Hey, you're going to sleep? If you're going to sleep, we won't bother you for the food. You know, it's in a different level of respect and service. It's very different. And usually it's a lot younger people from like Eastern Europe who go through these trainings where they're trained to do it this way, you know. Americans, a little different.
Do you get first class?
I never get first class. No. I pay my ticket. So,
yeah, I mean,
you know, to pay $5K, like, I think, like, is it worth it? Most times it's not worth it. I get upgraded, you know, not frequently enough, but I do get upgraded.
Well, I mean, you're building your way up. You're at that platinum status, so.
Yeah, I'm executive platinum, the highest. So this week, we'll see if Nate and I get bumped up, but it really depends how packed the flights are. And now, because post-COVID, they're to the rim. Every flight is all the way.
Right.
And that's why you see the ticket prices are crazy.
They are.
They're crazy.
What are two of the most valuable lessons that you've learned from your travels? Because I know that one of the best things about traveling is that it just changes your perception about the world, and you meet so many different types of people everywhere. So how has that, like, what have you learned?
In terms of, I think just my perspective of life has changed. You know, I think, you know, once you start traveling, especially going to very, very exotic destinations, you start to understand that where we live is a fake world. You know, this is not reality. It is reality, but it's not what 90% of the world lives.
The U.S. or the whole world are living? Okay, because there's a whole other topic about we're not rich.
No,
so.
But I'm just saying the U.S. You know, like, we live in this place where everything is like, even I look at my kids, like, their life is a bubble, and thank God it is. Because like, I'm very, very grateful and happy that they can live a super secure, safe life here in America. You know, like, I thankful about that. But yeah, it just changes the way you see the world, right? I think I heard this myth, but so when you travel, you leave, everything changes here. When you get back, most of this didn't change. Most people didn't change. People are living that routine. You didn't. You put yourself out of that box, and it changes the way you see things, right?
Yeah, it's very different. Which was your favorite country?
Ooh. So I'm always going to say Italy, just because I'm Italian.
I'm going in March.
It's the best country on earth. It's so good. Food, history, they got beaches. I think the only thing we don't have is a desert, but we have everything. and I love it there. So I speak Italian. I put Italy like right here on my arm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have family there. Yeah, so Italy for me is number one. In terms of like my favorite countries, I'd say like between Italy, Spain, I love Albania, I love India, Thailand's really nice. And in Latin America, Argentina really changed my mind. So first time in Argentina was like 2 weeks ago. Love Argentina. Probably because I'm Italian.
Yeah.
So you know.
Kind of.
But yeah, the food's awesome. Beautiful place.
Which country had the biggest impact on you
India.
in your life?
India.
India, why?
Because the second you step into it, you understand that like it's just like you're on Mars. It's like a different planet. Like,
Yeah.
everything is different. Yeah. Like everywhere you go, you see a person. There's no second in India you don't see a person or you don't hear a honk. But yeah, it's the most impactful. You know, I even say it now, like there's two types of travelers now, the ones who have done India and the ones that haven't, just because once you go there, you see the extreme level of poverty with the extreme rich, where it's like, you know, the most expensive home in the world is in Mumbai and right under it is a slum. Like, how is that possible?
Right.
It is. Yeah, it's a place that'll change the way you see the world, right?
Were you ever in a sketchy situation?
Yeah.
Or been put in like danger?
I've been like one bad one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it?
Not bad. I mean, somebody like pulled a knife, but
Oh,
I mean,
no
for
big
me,
deal.
that's bad because I've never.
No big deal.
I've never been robbed in my life. Even here in Miami, never been robbed. So I was in Morocco 2008 and we were in a city called Fez and we had a guide and we got a price for the 8 hours, whatever is the price. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through, his buddy jumps in. Oh, good. His buddy just jumped in and we're like, okay, but we're not paying for him. He's like, oh, it's just hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, great. At the end, they double the price. And then we're like, can't pay you double the price. We'll pay you the price. Pulls out a knife. Literally, we all stayed in the hotel for 2 days because we were just like, no, this is impossible. Like, we're just nervous to go back in the streets and then we get shanked, you know? We just didn't know. As also that was my first like third world nation in terms of going, like first time in Africa, first time going to one of these countries where, you know, I don't speak the language. I am not part of that culture. It was different.
I can't pay you, so let me probably stab you.
I actually,
wild.
I didn't feel that unsafe in Brazil, but yeah.
Traveling. I know that one of your goals with your channel is to change the way that people see the world, to get them out of their comfort zone, right?
Sorry.
What would you say is like your biggest goal though?
Biggest goal? I think it's just to show people that traveling is not scary. It shouldn't be scary because I've met a lot of people that are nervous to travel, especially to travel to like Africa, India. I mean, yeah, you get a little nervous, especially if you don't know anybody there, if you're not connected in any way. But I feel like my main thing is that I want to share the world to show that people are all the same everywhere. We're all the same, and what binds us really is food. You know, like, doesn't matter where you're from, you speak a different language, but when we eat together, we converse through food. So yeah, I think
Food is its own universal language.
it is, and it's really amazing because people ask me like, why do you do so much food? I'm like, nah, man, because like without the food, there's no culture. Culture is food.
Culture
you
is
know?
food. It's true. So you are you're making your own hot sauce now.
So on hot sauce. So you know, now we're in the moment of the company where we're gonna expand into products, right?
Okay.
So I haven't done that. I had in the past, but recently, you know, it's been like just grow viewership, keep growing, establishing the brand. And now we're coming out with our hot sauce. So this is from a company called Suyum Foods. So they're a Surinamese family in Tampa. So Suriname, small country in South America, next to Guyana, next to French Guinea. I went there, I grew an audience there. And they reached out to me about a year ago and they were like, why don't you have your own hot sauce? And I was like, well, I don't know how to make sauce. They're like, no, we'll make it for you. Just like, do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So after 1 year, we came up with it and here it is. And you're going to try it today. You're going to love it.
Yes.
This is the hot. I also have mild, but I know the hot's going to sell the most. So it is.
Is it really, really hot?
No. So it's hot.
Not like ghost pepper hot?
No. So there's a lot of flavor. So
okay,
it's pineapple, guava, and Kashmiri chili. So I really wanted to show the element of Miami. I want to bring in that Cuban, Caribbean flair with guava. Pineapple is one of my favorite fruits on the planet. So I really like those two, you know, combined. And then we threw in the chili to see how that worked. And I say I love this one way more than this one, but this one's for people who don't like spice.
Okay.
This is more like a chutney, like a nice sauce.
You have the options, right?
You have the options. Yeah, well, we'll see. If this sells like crazy, we stop making this guy. That's it.
Yeah, you know, if you can just focus on one product and make that one explode, why not?
That's what we wanted to do, really just one, but we're giving 2 options for now.
Yes, I think that's a good entry to market type of strategy there.
No, for sure. No, this is going to be good. You're going to love it. And so this is launching now.
Good.
We're finishing the website. We've been revamping my website. That's something I didn't mention. I almost never mention it, but my website is how I started in '08. Started with a website, obviously making videos, but I started with a website and then it got into a blog and now it's a source for travel. So anything you're looking up, like if you go to any countries I've been to, if you're looking for information on it, you go to my website, you just type in the country or go through a destination. I don't have it here because it's still in the building stage, but
we'll include it though. Is it safe to say that Davidsbeenhere is a one-stop travel shop?
Trying to be.
When it comes to knowledge, of course, because you can't book flights or any of that there, right?
You could through my affiliates, yeah.
So we really own the one-stop travel shop.
Yes.
Okay,
sure.
so davidsbeenhere.com.
Davidsbeenhere.com.
Can they get trip itineraries there?
So we're building up a lot of things there. But yeah, I mean, we give you tips, suggestions, a lot of top 10s for destinations.
Oh, that's the best. People love those top 10 things. Last piece of travel advice that you would like to leave someone with?
Last piece of travel advice. I think...
Or pieces, if there's more.
Yeah, I think people have to start changing the way they see travel in, like, I can travel within my own state, within my own backyard, and you're still traveling. You're still getting the experiences, right? Like going out and doing camping in the Everglades. That's an experience people should do. And that's right here. Yeah, I mean, you could do it. There's campsites, right? No, and you're not in the water, but yeah.
I mean they might come visit you at your tent. I don't know about
But that's part of it, right? The mosquitoes is part of it. But I think that's what I want to always encourage is that, like, just get out, move, see things. If you're going to stay in your box, nothing's really going to change here, you know, besides like everything you consume online. But you should always try to go out and travel.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to change your mindset and help you become a better person in terms of understanding and relating to people, right? Do you feel like you can relate better to people after all your travels? Like empathize more, put yourself in their shoes?
No, of course. I all that plus with any of the countries I've been to, now I can really communicate with those people, you know? So that's why I love what I do, because now, like, when I get back from Belize, any person from Belize, I literally can have a conversation for hours because I've been to their country, you know?
Right.
So I think that's part of it, right? There's a lot of hole in the walls. It's hard. And I'm always seeking those hole in the walls to go eat. You know, like today we're going to go to a few that they're hole in the walls. They're small mom and pop shops.
Yeah, so we're going to go have falafel.
We're going to have falafel and shawarma. It's I'm actually surprised how Middle Eastern is there.
I know, yeah.
But,
we'll put some B-roll of our little lunch experience now, because we're going to do some content for his channel in how to eat in the most expensive city, right?
With $50.
With $50.
Yeah, so we're trying to do, you know, my main thing is I don't just want to go do a sit-down restaurant, have 10 dishes. I'm trying to do a challenge, give it a better story. You know, eating in Miami has become harder. I don't eat for less than $20 unless I'm eating fast food at this point.
And even that sometimes, because the fast food healthy restaurants, a salad is like easily $20. So
exactly. I go to Whole Foods, it's $20.
We have one more question for David, and it's what's his ultimate goal? But not just his ultimate goal. This goal is so big that he's going to tattoo it on himself. So, so what's the goal?
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, you can travel the world forever. The world is attainable at this point. You can be anywhere within 24 hours. Literally, I can be in Sydney in 24 hours. But what's the hardest thing to do right now? Well, let's go to space. And the moon is like the hardest, but we do see it happening in our lifetimes. From what it looks like, we'll be able to.
Yeah.
But that's my ultimate goal. Go to space and the moon. Space right now, you could do it for 20 million, but again, it's $20 million.
So how do you plan on making that happen? Are you going to do a GoFundMe or
No. I'm going to work hard.
Work hard.
Work really hard.
Build up that YouTube. Get like 10 million subscribers.
I think you have to. The one thing I learned from Arnold Schwarzenegger many years ago is that he's always like, you have to know where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, the sail, doesn't matter how the winds are, the sail won't be there. So my goal is to go there, and everything that happens between now and then will get me there, you know?
You know, space sounds great. I would love to go, but I never actually saw it as an attainable goal.
It will be attainable.
It will be within our lifetime.
I think in our lifetime. I mean, we have Virgin Galactic already for $250,000. They're not really flying yet, you know, but it's happening.
Poof, that would be awesome.
Right?
Well, tattoo it, get it there so you can see it every day. You have like a little mini vision board right here. Like, what are we going to do?
I look up there every day, so I look at literally the moon every day. I'm like, okay.
Oh, it's there.
It's there.
Okay.
It's funny.
thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and
thank you.
letting everyone know your story, your experiences. And now we'll be going to lunch. So excited for that.
Awesome. Thank you.
But thank you.
Appreciate it. Love it. Buenísimo.